Good afternoon and welcome to FA Cup Live with me, Caoimhan Ferris, for our final quarter-final of this weekend, as 3 already booked their place in the semi-finals. Just 2 teams remain in the competition, not confirmed. Will it be Bournemouth or will it be Manchester City that will be heading to Wembley in just over a month's time? Already, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa this afternoon and Nottingham Forest have booked their places into the semi-finals. A chance for one of those teams to win it, which they haven't since the 20th century. Man City, the only team in the quarterfinals that have won this competition this century, and they have the chance to get to their 8th successive semi-final in this competition. Quite incredible that Manchester City are at this stage once again. But a Bournemouth side today, they know history beckons. If they win this afternoon, they will be at Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final for the very first time in their history. 16 years ago, almost to the day, they could have been out of the Football League entirely, being relegated from League 2, and now 16 years later on the precipice of possibly getting to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final for the very first time. A big day on the cards for Bournemouth and their fans. A lovely sunny day. It's got a bit of heat about it today. The sun's come out and the fans out in their droves here at the Vitality Stadium for this wonderful occasion. The Man City fans looking to rescue anything they can at their team this season. No trophies other than this one is possible for them. They can't win the Premier League, they can't win the Champions League, they're out of that. They were out of the Carabao Cup pretty early. The FA Cup's the only trophy remaining for Pep Guardiola's team domestically to win this season, and they have a chance to try and get to Wembley, as I said, for a 7th successive time this afternoon. Let's have a look and see what the results have already been this weekend quickly for you before we get the teams. As I said, Fulham were knocked out by Crystal Palace in that London derby yesterday. 3 goals in that one for Palace. A comfortable victory on the road. Much more difficult for Nottingham Forest. They've made it hard for themselves. 3 penalty shootouts wins in a row for Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup this season, winning 4-3 on penalties after a 0-0 draw with Brighton after 120 minutes. And then earlier this afternoon, the only remaining Championship side or non-Premier League side in the competition, Preston North End, faced Aston Villa of the Premier League, and in the end Aston Villa came out winners on that occasion by 3-0. Quite comfortable victory there for Aston Villa. Marcus Rashford with his first and second goals for Aston Villa before Jacob Ramsey made it 20 minutes from time. Pretty comfortable in the end for Aston Villa. All 3 away teams having won already this weekend, but there's nothing to say about that. Quick look at the draw then for the semi-finals, which was done just after the Aston Villa's victory over Preston. Nottingham Forest will face the winners of our game this afternoon between Bournemouth and Man City, and Crystal Palace will take on Aston Villa in that other semi-final. Those semi-finals will be played the weekend of the 26th and 27th of April, and then the live final Saturday the 17th of May. Right, we're ready to go. Here we go, the players out on the pitch. Let's get the team news then. Starting with the home side, Bournemouth. Kepa Arrizabalaga starts in goal. A back 4 of Lewis Cook, the captain, Ilya Zabarnyi, Marcus Senesi, and the left back, Julio Soler. In midfield, Tyler Adams is alongside Ryan Christie, with Justin Kluivert in the 10 role. David Brooks is the right winger. On the left wing is Antoine Semenyo, and Evan Nielsen leads the line for Bournemouth. On the bench for the Cherries, Dennis Smith-Hill, Akimboni, Scott Winterburn, Silcott Derbury, Ouattara and Jebison. For Manchester City, who tasted defeat here in the Premier League earlier this season. They start with Edison in goal, Nunez, Kusanov, Diaz, Vardiol in defence, a midfield of Gundogan and Kovacic with De Bruyne in the 10, captaining the side, with Bernardo, Foden and Haaland leading the line. That is the team for Pep Guardiola and, of course, Antonio Iraola's teams for this one. This FA Cup quarter-final, a place in the semis await. One of these 2 teams is ready for kick-off. And we're underway then for our final quarter-final of the weekend in the FA Cup this season, live from the Vitality Stadium. No home side has won their quarter-final tie this weekend. All of Fulham Brighton and Preston all losing at home in their FA Cup quarter-finals. Can Bournemouth buck that trend, or will Man City continue the seemingly consistent feeling across the weekend of those away teams coming out on top? We will see. Here's Semenyo trying to go for the first attack of the afternoon, battling there with a number of City bodies. City closing him down well, but he's actually won it back well here, Semenyo, and wins a throw-in off Mateus Nunes. City were thinking they were getting the throw in there, but it is a Bournemouth throw. It is a big day for Bournemouth, as I said. Could get to their first semi-final of an FA Cup in the club's history. And before the game, I was watching the build-up to the match on TV, and kind of the angle they went for, of course, was 16 years ago, almost 16 years ago to the day, when Bournemouth were battling here for their safety in the Football League. You remember back in League 2, they were in 2009, April 2009, and they had to beat Grimsby here at the Vitality to secure safety on that day after being going into administration that season. So what a difference it has made. And in a number of years after that, they got promotion to the Premier League in, I think, 2015. And they've been up and down between the Premier League and Championship ever since, but this is a day those fans want to remember. It's another one of those days in this club's history. Certainly its recent history in the top flight of English football. They want to celebrate a semi-final appearance, as Phil Foden was fouled there by Julio Soler. It's a free kick to Manchester City. Of course, Man City in a very different run of form and vein of form than they were the last time they visited the Vitality Stadium back in November. The two sides met on the 2nd of November when City went through that torrid losing run, and Bournemouth beat them by 2-1 on that day. The first ever Premier League win for Bournemouth against Manchester City on this ground. Quite a remarkable day for Bournemouth that day. Antoine Semenyo and Evan Nielsen cruised them into a 2-goal lead before Vardiol made it a bit nervy towards the end, but they hung on and got the 2-1 victory, did Bournemouth. And what has been a quite fantastic Premier League season for them, for the Cherries so far, albeit they're in 10th at the minute, but only a number of points off Man City in those Champions League places. Only 4 points off Champions League football this season, along with quite a hatful of teams. As that's a ball in behind for Kluivert to chase. He does chase it, and Kusanov, I think, might have got the last touch on that. I think he did, and it's going to be a corner to Bournemouth here. Abdul Qadir Kusanov, centre-back who joined in the January window for Manchester City, and they had those injury concerns and that injury crisis, really. As Kluivert, who won the corner, will take it, goes low across the front post, and Semenyo's link up not quite working out as the clearance goes away for a throw-in. Yeah, it's going to. I expect a close matchup between these two this afternoon. I'd say they are very well matched in their quality, especially this season. Obviously, no Rodri for Manchester City, of course. Manchester City, probably their first big test of this competition this season. They've had fairly, I wouldn't say easy draws, but relatively easier draws than maybe some others this season. Man City, Salford, Leyton Orient and Plymouth, their 3 previous opponents in the competition this season. And Bournemouth, contrastingly, have had Championships West Brom, and then away to Everton, and then home to Wolves in their respective games. So Premier League opposition on 2 of their 3 meetings of their FA Cup ties this season for Bournemouth. Both have found their way to the last 8, and now want to get it to the last 4. Only one can win today. It's a lovely tick down by Bernardo Silva under pressure. Antoine Semenyo wins it back cleanly, though. And does well to keep the possession and actually gets fouled by İlkay Gündoğan. He was a bit late there. The City players arguing that there was a foul from Semenyo on Bernardo Silva initially. The referee said no. I mean, it's a bit of a shove. It's not a foul. And then as Gündoğan tries to win the ball for City, it is a really late challenge. It is a foul. And the referee there, sure that well. Just explaining that decision to İlkay Gündoğan. Free kick here for Bournemouth, which has slightly upset the City players. That is the decision. Tyler Adams will take it in a matter of moments. Here is Tyler Adams, just lays it off to the right hand side. Deep cross there by Cook. Right out to the far side for Semenyo. He does well to hold it off now to Soler, who steps inside. Julio Soler wasn't going to go for the shot there. Looked like he was for a second. Here's Kluivert. Switches it to the far right side, but too much of a whip on that cross. Goes behind for a goal kick. Yeah, I could see what he was trying to do there, Justin Kluivert. Yeah, just that. Too much of a deep ball, that from Justin Kluivert. Was never getting to anyone. And always going out for a goal kick. But some early promise from Bournemouth. Some good early possession, some good battling up. Good pressing, actually, in these early moments. That's another really well won ball by Soler. Lovely little work by Kluivert to lay it off. Semenyo again getting tangled in his own touches there. As Sabarni has to hook it away. Nicely won in the middle by Adams, and now Evan Nielsen chasing back. Oh, Edison, what's he done there? Adams gets absolutely cleaned out. Manchester City second to everything at the minute. It's a really nice worked ball by Tyler Adams initially. He plays it over the top. See this again, it's played over the top. One for Evan Nielsen to chase. And the defender, I'm trying to see who it was that played it back. It was Ruben Diaz, played it back to Edison. And Edison just forced it right out of the box, played it right out of the box, straight into Tyler Adams' path. And as he takes it down, he gets absolutely cleaned out around about the edge of the D. City are really not off to a pretty confident start. Lacking concentration in these early moments, Manchester City, lacking a bit of sharpness. And I think the fixture in the Premier League here back in November, I remember watching, and there was a moment from the very first minute where Bournemouth pressed Man City, and you could tell they were so much sharper on that day, and that's why they beat City on that day. Their pressing was so much better and how intense they were. And so far in these first 8.5 minutes, we're starting to see the same kind of symptoms show themselves again as Kluivert is over this free kick, about 24 yards out. Maybe a bit more, 25, 26 yards. Kluivert will hit one, but he got absolutely too much height behind that one, well over the bar, and comes to nothing. It was a decent position, 25, 26 yards out, fairly central. I mean, I get maybe it's a bit difficult to get it up and down again, but that was certainly not one of his best. Oh, Edison trying to dribble in his own 6-yard box there. Got it out to Kusanov, who absolutely hoofs it away towards the path of Haaland. Cook wins the header. Brought down nicely by Christie, but beaten off the ball there was Brooks. Now Gündoğan. Lovely little turn by İlkay Gündoğan. And now feeds it into the path of De Bruyne. Little drag back. Finds Gündoğan on the move. Now Bernardo Silva. Wide on this right hand side. Lays it on the overlap. Whip ball in, and the header from Erling Haaland is gone wide of the left post. That was really nice build-up play from Manchester City. It all comes to Matheus Nunes on the overlap. Beautiful pinpoint cross onto the head of Haaland. Doesn't really need to do much with it, Haaland. Just gets any sort of contact, and it should be going on target. But he just headed it wide. And that was much more competent from Manchester City's point of view. In the first real time, they've actually going from back to front without any interruptions from Bournemouth. That's a bouncing ball. Senesi went to win it. Couldn't win it against Haaland, but as the ball bounces back, it will be comfortably gathered by the Bournemouth keeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga. As Tyler Adams is struggling there a little bit. Has to go. He does go down here, Adams, momentarily. Maybe just a collision, and he was trying to win the ball. Just going to get a drop ball here then, Bournemouth. The fact that there was a player down. Kepa. Senesi. To Soler, a bit of a heavy touch by Julio Soler. Bernardo Silva does well, presses it and wins the throw-in off the Bournemouth left-back. Nunes goes for the long throw towards Haaland, lays it off well. Bernardo Silva tries to cross, a handball, penalty to Manchester City. Tyler Adams deemed to have handled the ball on the edge of the box, and the referee, Stuart Atwell, took no second thinking and pointed straight to the spot, and it's an early penalty for Manchester City. And I gotta say, Tyler Adams could have no complaints. His arm is in the air, away from his body. I mean, it's literally this, away from his body. It's certainly a penalty. It's handball, and it's a chance for Manchester City. After a little bit of a shaky start, a penalty certainly helped them settle into this game. And Tyler Adams, the one giving the penalty away. It's Haaland that will take it. Expect that any second now as he gets the ball from his captain, Ruben Dias, who was minding it for him for a mere moment, while Kepa was trying to play a few mind games. Kepa has made some big saves for Bournemouth this season. He might need to be called upon here against one of the most ruthless penalty takers in the Premier League, Erling Haaland. From 12 yards, after a shaky start, a chance to give Manchester City the lead here at the Vitality Stadium. Erling Haaland, oh! Saved by Kepa Arrizabalaga. Where is the ruthless striker now? He's gone missing. We've got an imposter in the Manchester City number 9 shirt. Erling Haaland misses the penalty. But it's a really shocking penalty by Haaland. Low, hard, but a fantastic save by Kepa. Dived the right way, got right across and got clean hands to it. Fabulous bit of goalkeeping. Great save, but an absolute woeful penalty when Erling Haaland's standards come into question. And funnily enough, on the counter-attack, Bournemouth have a free kick now on the edge of Manchester City's box. Just as we thought that might be a curtain raiser, that might be a mood booster for City, it's actually gone the opposite way. And Kluivert's free kick, punched away by Edison, not convincing that. As Kluivert takes it down again on the rebound. Just keeps possession, whips the ball round the back post. As Vardiol chests it down, trying to get City forward and away again. But the ball down the line can just go out of play for a throw-in. What a big moment that is. What a big save by Kepa. It's had an absolute cracker of a season. And they've won it back here, Bournemouth, from the throw-in. Evan Nielsen in the box. Crowded by City shirts. Brooks now trying to keep it. And it's gone for a goal kick as the last touch came off the Bournemouth player. Certainly a very intense, electric start to this game from Bournemouth. I gotta say, Andoni Iraola's side, you gotta say that they're probably one of the best teams to watch this season in the Premier League. The way they play football is so kind of entertaining and so beautiful to watch. And it's just raw excitement. raw intensity and desire to win the ball, and that passion to battle for every single 50-50, every duel, every battle. Oh, that's a poor ball back, and Haaland's one-on-one. Haaland! Oh, has he missed that one? He's missed an open goal. Erling Haaland. Again, it's a nice header by Haaland initially. Feeds it back to Kevin De Bruyne. And as De Bruyne was trying to bring it down, it's a poor back ball, kind of over the top by Bournemouth. I couldn't see who it was. And Haaland was just straight in one-on-one with Kepa, and he completely misses the target. There really might be an imposter dressed as Erling Haaland today. That's two massive chances. Probably the most gift of a chance you can ask for in football is a penalty. Missing that, and then having a clean one-on-one chance. City dispossessed again by Kluivert, but sloppy in their play early doors here, City. In those moments, they're just being a little bit lax, taking maybe a second or two too long on the ball. And Bournemouth's intense press is breaking them down. And another ball in behind, this time from City. Haaland on the chase, but Kepa, commanding his area, comes charging out and heads it away. Out for the throw-in. I do expect the first goal to really open this game massively. It's been open so far at 0-0. Both sides have not been afraid to attack. The referee's let a few things go. He's certainly played a fair match so far, the referee, the first 17 minutes. And there's already been drama and action and controversy. Building up to be the real grand finale of this quarter-final weekend in the FA Cup. There are 3 of our 4 semi-finalists now confirmed. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa all into the semis at Wembley at the end of next month. Which one of these 2 teams will join them? Kovacic. Kusanov. Back to Mateo Kovacic. Foden. Now Gundogan. Wide to Vardiol. Back to Ilkay Gundogan. City try and control a little bit more of the possession. Oh, another misplaced ball. And Semenyo there to latch upon it and steal it away from the City man. And he's broke free from Foden. Semenyo slices it wide. Again, it's trying to see who it was this time. Down that right-hand side for Manchester City. It actually might be Mateus Nunes. And it's Foden that has to cover over at right back for Nunes, who was out of position. And Semenyo just nicks it away from him. He's just standing still on the ball. And just gets the ball. Basically, Semenyo picks his pocket, really. Steals away with the ball and runs in behind. And as he gets to the box, strikes it with the left, but slices it wide of the left post. Decent opportunity from Semenyo, but again another example of where Manchester City is a little bit too lax on the ball at times, and in those occasions that's when Bournemouth want to apply their press, and the intensity of the said press is just catching Manchester City out. Here's Adams under pressure himself, but that's a foul by Bernardo Silva. Adams plays a outfield ball. Oh, trying to find Antoine Semenyo with a switch ball there. Straight from the free kick. Goes out for a throw. But again, Bournemouth are always trying to keep Man City on the move. Always trying to keep them on the move. It's a very interesting tactic, that from Bournemouth. Antoine Semenyo has looked bright so far. He's been involved in quite a lot of the positive things Bournemouth have done in the first 20 minutes or so. Especially the pressing. Oh, another awful ball by Manchester City. This time Nunes again switching it. And Cook's there to intercept. And Brooks in the box. Brooks with a cross. And Kluivert. Oh, it's pushed over the line. And Bournemouth take the lead. It's Evan Nielsen in the middle, there to smash it home. And Bournemouth take the lead. That is how you do it. Again, another Manchester City mistake, dispossessed in their own half. And Bournemouth do finally capitalise upon one of those interceptions on the high press. It's Nunez that's pressed by Semenyo. He then gives it away, unforced in the end, to Lewis Cook. Cook lays it off to Brooks. What a cross this is by Brooks. Kluivert directs it back across goal. And there to poach it home is Evan Nielsen. Fabulous combination football from Bournemouth. But it all stems from that Manchester City mistake in their own half. And that was their downfall. They missed a penalty mere 10 minutes ago to take the lead themselves. And now they've paid the ultimate price by going behind, all on their own mistake. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. And that's only really what Bournemouth deserve in these opening minutes. The penalty was harsh in terms of how well they'd played. It was definitely a penalty, no doubt, but you would say maybe the way that Bournemouth had started, they started the better of the two teams. And look at this now, they've stolen it away again. It's Cook again. They're all over Manchester City here. City are like headless chickens running around this pitch, not able to keep up with the tempo and momentum and pace, sheer pace of the Bournemouth attack. And the Bournemouth press is absolutely exceptional. And they're destroying Manchester City time and time and time again. That goal beautifully worked. And it's just the sheer evidence that all the work they've done up to in the first 20 minutes comes to fruition, that they reap the rewards of the seed that they've sown. That hard work they've put in the first 20 minutes. They press them into an error in their own half and end up capitalising upon that with really nice football. That was a half chance there for Gundogan from the edge of the box. Nothing really threatening Kepa of any real threat there. So he had to make one big save in this game. Kepa certainly won't be his last that he'll have to make, of course. This is Manchester City we're talking about. They may not be at their best this season, but they're still capable of being ruthless when they need to be. But they are not invincible. Very far from that. This season has gone to show that is very much the case. Here's Kluivert intercepting another loose ball in the midfield there from City. Here's Zabanyi. Calmness. Lays it off to Brooks on the right hand side. Halfway through this first half, Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. City already missed a penalty in the game, and Haaland missed a practical open goal, really. Not many minutes after his penalty miss. And then Bournemouth took the lead. Here's Kluivert and reams the space now. Charging to the Man City box. Kluivert lays it off to Semenyo. Semenyo into the box, trying to find a shooting chance. Gets the cross in. And Edison palms it out for a throw. Or maybe it actually went all the way through. See this again. Semenyo. Forced cross. I thought Edison got hands to it. It may actually just went all the way across from Semenyo. The sheer pace of it. And goes out for a City throw on the far side. But again, another idea. Another example of where City look vulnerable. Bernardo Silva just about getting the ball away from the press that time. Lays it off to Matheus Nunes. Now Kovacic. Diaz. Has to turn back to Edison. He lays it out to Kusanov. Kovacic. Now De Bruyne. Rolls it forward, but again under hits it and given away. And Bournemouth again, as soon as they won the ball back there, they wanted to go the ball over the top. That time a little bit overhit and allowed City to recover, but again, it's just basically a lack of quality at times from Manchester City. It's just not giving them possession, not giving them the opportunity to sustain possession. Another ball in behind. Edison's come crashing out. He got the ball, but he took the Bournemouth player with him. In the end, it actually works out well for Man City because they have the ball here with Bernardo Silva. Now Gundogan. Foden. Trying to find Bernardo Silva wide again. And again, the press from Bournemouth here. Out of possession. Really intense. It's Vardiol and Foden linking up nicely on that side. Bernardo Silva. Kovacic. Movement with a little bit more pace now, Manchester City. Basically needs must, really. If they don't play at one touch, Bournemouth will be there to try and close them down. They're not giving them an inch of space at the moment. Or Bournemouth, and that's just how intense their press is at this minute in time. Gundogan. Vardiol goes for the cross, low, blocked by the feet of Lewis Cook, and goes out for a Man City throw on the far side. Vardiol finding Foden. Again closed down instantly by Christie as Gundogan keeps it alive, and the shot from Kusanov actually turns into a great block, and Adams is kicking it here. He tried to find it through. Evan Nielsen, oh, it just bounced over him. The bounce caught him out, and Evan Nielsen will keep it. But he almost had a chance at a one-on-one there with Edison. And that shot from Kusanov, just complete. I mean, that's just stupidity, really. From that sort of position, when you've got no one back in cover, and you just take a shot from about 30 yards. I mean, with a load of bodies in your way, it's just stupidity, really. And in the end, Tyler Adams almost made something of it. Almost got the ball to Evan Nielsen for a one-on-one in behind with Edison, but just the bounce caught the Bournemouth goal scorer out. Kusanov again was shoulder barged to Clivert out of the way that time. It was a little bit better physicality wise, and that's worked out well for City as they spread the ball here to Vardiol down the left channel, finding De Bruyne in space. Kevin De Bruyne tries to go for the whip cross, cleared away by Zabarnyi. Semenyo's there back to help out, and is dribbling the ball in and around his own box as he hoofs it away a danger. And Evan Nielsen will win the free kick there off, I believe that was Ruben Dias, it was. And a free kick to Bournemouth. Zabarnyi will take this free kick. Just goes short to his centre-back partner, Marcus Senesi. He whips it over the top to find Semenyo, who was just offside. Antoine Semenyo, a big player in Bournemouth this season. Certainly a big player in everything that Bournemouth have done well this campaign. Antoine Semenyo, the 25-year-old Ghanaian, has been hot-tipped to maybe make a move somewhere else in the summer. And he only joined Bournemouth in January in 2023 from Sunderland. Or sorry, at Bristol City, apologies. He was on loan at Sunderland before he made the move, but was brought back from loan. And spent a few years at Bristol City before Bournemouth picked him up for £8.9 million in January 2023. This season he scored 7 Premier League goals. Yet to score in the FA Cup, although hasn't played in this competition since he was at Bristol City back in 2021. Long ball over the top there. Nunez in behind. The flag stayed down as he chops back on Semenyo and gets the cross. That is comfortably into the hands of Kepa Arrizabalaga. I mean, that was a good run by Matheus Nunes. How he wasn't offside, I don't know, but he wasn't, and it's a perfectly timed run. Tried to get the cross in, just too close to the Bournemouth keeper to cause any real threat and any real concern. Kovacic. Gundogan. Back to Mateo Kovacic. Through the lines now to De Bruyne, and out to the left-hand side for Vardiol. Up against Cook. Vardiol, good battle this. And Vardiol finds a corner off Lewis Cook. And that turns out to be Man City's first corner of the game. Bournemouth have had the only corner of the game up to this point. Just the one. This is Manchester City's first of this FA Cup tie. Let's see what they can do from this. Right-footed delivery, deep round the back post. Haaland couldn't even reach it. I think it did come off a Bournemouth player last. However, I don't think they've given it as a corner. We'll see this again, whipped in. Did it come off Sabarni last there? Well, the officials didn't think so. They say goal kick. Yeah, the delivery was deep to the back post. It was just too much, and Erling Haaland couldn't get on the end of it, and Zabarni had him for company. It looked like it might have just took a nick off Zabarni, but it can't be 100% certain, even after seeing a replay, and just goes for a goal kick. Kepa goes long with this one. Soler wins the header in midfield, flicked up into the air by Adams. Evan Nielsen brings it down, but couldn't spray it wide to Kluivert. That's a lovely little touch by Kovacic to break away, and Kluivert pulling Kovacic down, but the referee's played advantage. Vardiol. Gundogan. Just as they cross the halfway line, Manchester City, they need to be a bit more creative with their movement. Bournemouth just getting back into shape. Just kind of stifling the Manchester City movement momentarily. De Bruyne. Nunez tries to find De Bruyne in behind. That's a good tackle there by Semenyo on the slide. Puts it out for the City throw. Nice attempt by Nunez to find De Bruyne on the overlap. But Semenyo was back and defending. Soler now battling. And wins a throw-in off Bernardo Silva there. That's really strong defending there from Julio Soler, the 20-year-old Argentinian. Of course, usually the Bournemouth left-back is Milos Kerkez, the Hungarian. Julio Soler, not many of us will know, or not many of you might know him, joined Bournemouth in the January window of this year for £6.7 million from Lanús Reserve. Lanús, the Argentinian side. Has played one game for Bournemouth so far, just after he joined actually, in that 5-1 victory over West Brom in the FA Cup third rounds. And he played a number of minutes there in that one. And that's his only Bournemouth appearance. He's been on the bench previous times, but this is his first start for the club. Or I believe his first real minutes for the club this season. since joining in the January window. And done a decent job at left back so far, Julio Soler, deputising for Milos Kerkez, who isn't involved this afternoon. I don't believe it's through injury. I believe it's maybe just resting him, I would guess. He's not down on an injury concern at the minute. Is Milos Kerkez. He's not on the bench, of course, this afternoon. James Hill's on the bench as another backup full-back for the Cherries. Less than 10 minutes to go with this first half. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. Evan Nielsen with the poached finish from merely a yard, giving Bournemouth the lead after Erling Haaland missed a penalty and the gilt-edged one-on-one chance against Kepa Arrizabalaga. It's been an action-packed first half so far. Here's Semenyo battling with Nunez. This is a battle that will continue all afternoon, I suspect, as Adams feeds it in behind. There's a bit of a challenge off the ball there on Kluivert's. He goes down. It looked like Kusanov was involved, and it's going to be a yellow card for Abdulkadir Kusanov. I think the Bournemouth bench were claiming it was maybe a different colour of card, but I think that would have been a bit harsh from that sort of position. It looked like there was men in cover. It didn't look like a last man challenge, and I think kind of sensibility has prevailed from the referee there. Stuart Atwell. But Kusanov, certainly a yellow card for the clip on the heels of Justin Kluivert as he tried to make that run in behind. Certainly a yellow for the Manchester City centre-back. It's smart from the referee. No need to pull out a red card. It's not a last man challenge. It's not dangerous. It's not anything above board. Simple yellow card and a free kick, and that deals with all the sort of issues. It's going to be David Brooks, I think, that's going to take this free kick. It is. Brooks chips it over the top, bounce it in, and it's gone all the way through and out the other end. I think it might be a corner. Maybe a flick off someone in there. Brooks with the delivery, chips it over the top, and it comes all the way through. I don't know whether it gets a touch from Ryan Christie. It comes off the head, actually, of Ilkay Gundogan, and it's just merely an inch off the foot of Marcus Senesi, and it goes behind for the corner to Bournemouth, but they're inches away from maybe making it 2-0. And they have the chance here from this set piece to try and have another opportunity at that. Left-footed delivery by Semenyo into the box. The header up in the air by Adams, and as it comes back down, Edison was there to claim. Another nervy moment for Pep Guardiola's side in this first half. A big moment as De Bruyne goes for the switch ball. It will find its way to Mateus Nunes eventually, as he feeds it through to Bernardo Silva now, wide on this right side. Bernardo Silva's cross up in the air, and comfortable claim in the end by Kepa. So commanding so far, Kepa. Not looked unsettled whatsoever. He's looked just real rock solid so far, the Bournemouth goalkeeper. Long kick by Kepa, targeting the head of Semenyo. As well won by Nunes, and Bernardo Silva's flicking behind. Cleared away by Senesi. Semenyo trying to close down again. Now Kusanov. Foden lays it off to Kovacic, who tried to find Haaland, but again closed down well. Zabarnyi, Kluivert on the spin, brought down, but no foul as City win it fairly, and now Foden's on the breakaway. Feeds it through for De Bruyne. Just about holding on to the ball. Kevin De Bruyne. Now back to Foden. Now back to De Bruyne, who couldn't get a pass. Senesi, who thumps it away from any sort of danger, and out for the City throw deep in their own half. Again, decent opportunity there for Manchester City. Decent movement from Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. Again, the last pass letting them down. And Bournemouth able to deal with that situation. Just less than 5 minutes of this first half to go. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. Here's Kusanov. Bricks away himself, gets caught in possession, but is going to get the free kick, actually, as he was deemed to have been clipped there by Antoine Semenyo. Yeah, he was. Semenyo a little bit late there. It looked like a foul to me. And so it did to the referee as well. And that is what's been given. A free kick to Manchester City around about the halfway line. Semenyo in a conversation with the ref, just maybe getting a bit of explanation to why that was given. Nice civil conversation. City's free kick is taken short. Back here with Kovacic. Through to Foden. Back to Kovacic again. Now Diaz. To Kusanov. Kusanov now has a bit of space to break forward. And De Bruyne, who tried to flick it in behind for Bernardo Silva, but those two not on the same page. And it goes for a goal kick. As there's a number of Bournemouth players all in, well, you would call it casual clothes, but it's not casual to any normal person. Pretty very expensive clothes there. A number of the Bournemouth players, including Kerkez, Dean Howson, Marcus Tavernier amongst them there. I can pick out from about 5 or 6 Bournemouth players up in the director's box inside the Vitality. Beautiful summer's day in late March. Lovely Sunday afternoon for football. The FA Cup, a big day for this club if they can complete this lead that they have and turn it into victory. Albeit we're a long way from that, but if they could, it will be a day that will be long remembered in the history of this club and in the minds of the 11,000 fans that are here this afternoon. Although Foden tried to find Haaland, overhit it, and it's gone back to Kepa. I have to say, City are behind, but they've certainly tried to find the equaliser. It's not for the want of trying that they're not level. They are trying it. They're getting somewhat close. As I said, it's that final ball that's letting them down. It's either underhit or overhit. They're being just closed down by Bournemouth, and I wouldn't quite say it's last ditch challenging, but it's just the last line of defence for Bournemouth are coming up clutch at the minute and making those blocks, making those tackles, getting those challenges in the right moments. And there's an offside flag there up against Evan Nielsen, which got City a quick free kick. Just over a minute of the first 45 to go. Nunez stepped into midfield, slightly tugged there by Julio Soler, and it will be a free kick. Winning a number of those now are Manchester City. I don't know whether that benefits them or not. Again, it just seems like everything Manchester City try and throw at Bournemouth, they've got an answer to it. They've always got a man in cover. They've always got something to just counteract what City try and do. And that's certainly not something they would have planned for. Kusanov playing it straight out of play for a throw-in under really not massive pressure for a Premier League centre-back. A little bit of pressure. I think the shadow of Evan Nielsen put more pressure on Kusanov than Evan Nielsen himself did on that occasion, and maybe a bit of an unforced error there from the City centre-back. Ball down the right-hand side here from Cook, looking for Brooks. Blocked off by Vardiol. And strong defending, as we will have 1 additional minute at the end of the first half. Kusanov back to Edison, who has to go long. And it's actually worked out well. That's a lovely header by De Bruyne. And now Foden looking for Haaland in behind. He made the run off the defender. Haaland's carried himself wide. Comes back infield for Bernardo Silva. Now Foden. De Bruyne. De Bruyne over the bar. Again, that lack of patience. It's that lack of patience from Manchester City. When they get into the final third now, they're just snatching at a few chances. Just that frustration. The ball's maybe not falling correctly for them, not falling in their favour. It's just kind of slightly frustrating them. And they're snatching at a few chances now. As Kepa kicks it long, and that is the end of the first half. A first half that sees Bournemouth 50% of the way to having job done in this FA Cup quarter-final. A Manchester City side that are well accustomed to qualifying for the semi-finals in this sort of position. But a 1-goal lead for Bournemouth from Evan Nielsen's finish gives them that half-time advantage. City had the chance to go ahead themselves, but Haaland had his penalty saved by Kepa and then missed a one-on-one chance just mere minutes later. Evan Nielsen with the only goal of the first half, and Bournemouth lead by 1-0 at the break. Score and you're through. Miss and we're into sudden death. Ryan Yates against Bart Verbruggen. Steps up and gets it through. Forest are into the semi-finals. Maybe a slice of luck going Ryan Yates' way that it found its way through the hands of Bart Verbruggen. But who cares? It did find its way through. And Nottingham Forest are in their first FA Cup semi-final in 34 years. 1991, the last time they were heading to Wembley in this competition. They went on to the final. They would love to do that again and replicate that journey again. A third successive FA Cup penalty shootout victory. They just can't be beaten in a shootout. Forest have claimed victory again. And this time Brighton are the team to fall by the wayside. They had the chance to go to another semi-final, but they missed 2 penalties in a row, and that saw their hopes come crashing down. Forest absolutely imperious in penalty shootouts. Their third successive shootout victory in the FA Cup this season sees them in their first FA Cup semi-final in 34 years. Congratulations to Nottingham Forest. Well deserved, hard fought. They hung in there in the end, and they came out victorious in the shootout for the third successive time. Final result in this FA Cup quarter-final tie. After extra time, Brighton 0, Forest 0. Nottingham Forest win 4-3 on penalties. welcome back to FA Cup Live this Sunday afternoon for our final quarter-final of the weekend, as 3 of our 4 semi-finalists are confirmed. Just one more to decide for you. Will it be Bournemouth or will it be Manchester City? At half-time, it is Bournemouth who lead Manchester City by 1-0. Evan Nielsen's tapped-in finish from mere a yard has given Bournemouth the lead after Erling Haaland missed a penalty in the first 11 minutes and missed a gilt-edged chance one-on-one with Kepa mere minutes later. That's been the key word for Manchester City in that first half. Missed chances and a failure to really dominate Bournemouth at any sort of level. So that's our final quarter-final of the weekend. Let's have a look and see what the rest of the weekend had in store for us. Fulham were overcoming a London derby yesterday at Craven Cottage, yesterday lunchtime, by 3-0. Crystal Palace making easy work of their cross-city rivals. Yesterday, Eberechi Eze, Ismaila Sarr and Eddie Nketiah, the 3 goal scorers for Crystal Palace and Oliver Glasner's side, into the semi-final for the second time in 4 years. And then yesterday evening, we had that game live on LFS for you. Brighton against Nottingham Forest. It was an absolute dull fest in terms of the 120 minutes. It certainly wasn't the best game of football that we've ever watched. But the penalty shootout made up for it. A real exciting penalty shootout, 4-3. Nottingham Forest winning that one out. Their third successive penalty shootout win in the competition this year. Exeter, Ipswich and then Brighton as they head to the semis for the first time in 34 years, as you would have heard on that clip you saw during the break. And Aston Villa earlier this afternoon made easy work in the end of Championship side Preston. They needed till the 50th minute to get the opener through Marcus Rashford, his first in claret and blue for Aston Villa. He then got a second mere minutes later from the penalty spot when he doubled their lead. And then Jacob Ramsey, the local Birmingham boy and the local Villa Academy youthful, who came through the academy, Jacob Ramsey at Villa, a 23-year-old, giving Villa a third goal to wrap it up and get them through to the semis as well. And of course Bournemouth 1-0 up against Man City at the half. I can tell you it is really interesting because we've got to talk about these 3 teams that are already through. And this season's competition of the FA Cup, as we show you the draw for the semi-final that was done earlier this afternoon. The 3 teams that are in this semi-final this year are teams that haven't won this competition, either never won it or haven't won it in many's a year. Crystal Palace have never won it. They came the closest back in 2016 when they faced Manchester United in the final at Wembley. Lost that final. They've only been in 2 finals in their history, Crystal Palace, and they lost the most recent one. They've lost both of them, obviously. Never won the FA Cup. Palace, Nottingham Forest have won the competition. They've won it twice, but the last time they won it was 1959, 66 years ago. The last time they won it, they lost their last final, which was in 1991, and also Aston Villa. They've won it a number of times. They've actually one of the first winners of this competition. Back in 1887, they first won the FA Cup. They've won it 7 times in their history, Villa. But the last time they won it was even before Nottingham Forest last won it. The last time they won this competition was in 1957, Aston Villa. So 68 years ago. Quite a long time since they last won this competition, and they were in the final in 2015. They've been in 11 finals in their history of the competition, 7 wins, 4 losses in their history of this competition, and the latest final 2015, which they lost, did Aston Villa. So the 3 teams that are already through haven't won this competition, either never won it or haven't won it in well over half a century, and that's what makes this competition so good. You know, we're getting someone different, and if Bournemouth knock out Manchester City, it will mean none of our semi-finalists have either ever won this competition or haven't won it in over 60 years, which is quite remarkable. And we're going to have such a special season in the FA Cup this year if Bournemouth do put Manchester City out, because it will then regard it as a season to remember in this competition of why this competition is so special. That we've had 4 teams, albeit they're all Premier League sides, of course, and they're all doing well, but 2 of them, in Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, if Bournemouth go through, would have never won the competition, and Forest and Villa haven't won it in over 60 years. That's the joys of this competition. That's what it delivers, and you see there in the draw, Nottingham Forest will play the winner of this tie. There is a possibility, if Bournemouth get through this afternoon, there is a possibility that two teams that have never won the competition in their history meet in the final, which would be Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. If that were to happen, that would be absolutely romantic's dream of this competition, an FA Cup romantic's dream. Nottingham Forest face the winner of this tie this afternoon, and Crystal Palace will face Aston Villa at Wembley. Those ties played at the weekend of the 26th and 27th of April, with a live final at Wembley on Saturday the 17th of May. Right, that is where we stand at half-time then. That's the scores from the weekend. That's what the draw looks like. And a couple of minutes to go until the second half. It's been a very interesting first half, if to really sum it up. And really to just to analyse and kind of summarise that first half. It was a first half where, again, similar to the win that Bournemouth had over Manchester City in the Premier League earlier in the season, it was very much intense start, very kind of high-tempo, pressured start from Bournemouth. They were pressing Manchester City time and time again, and City just weren't able to handle it in those early moments. They've got a little bit better. They've come to grips with it maybe towards the end of the half, I think, Manchester City. But they had a chance to go ahead themselves. I mean, the penalty, I talk about it, and it is said, it's kind of the best gift you can ask for in a game of football, and especially in a cup tie, is getting a penalty, because it's almost probably a 70% score rate, 80% score rate from penalties. You know, that's an incredible opportunity to have so early in an FA Cup tie, when it's not been your season and you're away in a difficult game, and to miss that penalty and then miss a gilt-edged chance a couple of minutes after is a real crusher for you. And then Bournemouth score not long after that as well. A pretty torrid 10-minute spell for Manchester City in that first half, which saw them scramble the possibility of going 1-0 up twice in the game, and then go 1-0 down themselves to Evan Nielsen. Again, it all came, the goal, really, from a mistake, basically, in the midfield. It was Mateus Nunes. He was pressured a little bit by, I think it was Julio Soler. Kind of pressed him into a position, and as he tried to switch the ball across to his opposite fullback, across the midfield, it was well intercepted, given away cheaply. Lovely little ball down the right hand side by Cook, out to Brooks. Brooks squared it across the 18-yard box, I would say, right across the penalty spot, really. And Kluivert directed it back across goal, and then a simple tap in for Evan Nielsen. It was beautiful, beautiful football from Bournemouth, very distinctly described there. A bit of a stumble halfway through, but a very, very good goal. And it all came from a Manchester City mistake. But that's what Bournemouth have been preying on in that first half. I mean, that's what they were honing in on. They were pressing Manchester City into making mistakes, giving the ball away, giving cheap possession up. And that's where Manchester City looked off it in those early moments. I think, as I said, they've come to grips with that. They've moved the ball a little bit quicker, a bit more one touch, moved around the Bournemouth press a little better. I think maybe a little tweak from Bournemouth is needed there for the second half. But I don't think Manchester City have massively concerned Bournemouth, other than those two early chances before Bournemouth scored. Even when Man City were more capable of playing the ball around, you didn't really think at any moment Bournemouth were going to be carved open or they're going to be really vulnerable. They look really solid, really controlled, really compact, and really disciplined out of possession, Bournemouth. And their press has been absolutely fabulous. It's what's kind of led them to where they are at the minute. And I don't expect that to change in the second half one bit. Because they've done perfectly well so far, and they probably, a bit unfortunate maybe not to be further ahead with a couple of chances as well, not falling quite right for them in the end. But they lead at half-time, and the job is half done. They have a whole other half to go to try and see off Manchester City, and it will be a very tough next 45 minutes as we expect to see a big response from Manchester City. But let's see what we can get second half. Here are the Vitality in this FA Cup quarter-final. It's on the way next. Welcome back to FA Cup Live, second half at the Vitality on the way in just a moment. Don't forget, midweek Premier League action as the Premier League returns from the international break. We have a big game for you at the City Ground on Tuesday night as Nottingham Forest host Manchester United. That's Tuesday at 8 o'clock. On Wednesday night, the league leaders Liverpool host Everton in the Merseyside Derby. That's on Wednesday evening. And then on Thursday night, in our third and final game of the midweek, sees a London derby at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Tottenham. That is where we stand in the Premier League this midweek. Looking forward to the return of the Premier League, of course, for the final 9 games of the season. As the players come back out onto the field, and it looks like there's going to be a change here for City. At the back, and Nico O'Reilly is going to be coming on, the man who clawed it all the way back for them against Plymouth in round 5. Might have to do it again from the bench for Manchester City here this afternoon in this quarter-final, as he comes on at half-time. Not too sure he's come on for just yet, but I'll get that information for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. We thank each and every one of you for joining us this afternoon here on this one. We'll have to see what way City set up as we get the second half underway. It's a change at the back. Now, Nico O'Reilly, who isn't a centre-back, but I think he's come off for Kusanov, I believe. So Abdul Kadir Kusanov has come off, and Nico O'Reilly is on, but I don't think it's a straight swap. I think Vardiol has dropped into centre-back, and O'Reilly's at left-back, because here is Nico O'Reilly. First touch of the game, gets the cross deep. Too deep into the box. But some early glimpses there in the first couple of seconds of his appearance. He's already made a little bit of an impact down that left side. Yeah, it is down the left. So Ruben Dias and Vardiol are the centre-back pairing for Man City, and then Nico O'Reilly at left-back for the visitors. So Kusanov off at half-time after being booked in the first half, and probably a tough first half for the City centre-back, to say the very least. And we're getting no hint of it being an injury issue at the minute. It just seems like a straight tactical tweak rather than any sort of injury concern from Pep Guardiola at this minute in time. City with a throw-in down the right side. It's a big second half for them. Their season really hangs on this next half. You know, this is their only trophy they can win this season. It's their last hopes of a bit of silverware this campaign, and what has been a pretty forgetful season for Manchester City. They've fell out of the title race early. They were out of the Carabao Cup early. They got knocked out in the knockout playoffs of the Champions League, albeit to Real Madrid, but they still got knocked out. So it's been a pretty dismal season on the field for them in terms of successes in competitions, and this is their last hope. As here's Foden bricking forward, edge of the box, free chance, and Foden's shot should have been much more threatening than that. Right down the throat of Kepa. A free run from practically the halfway line. Driving forward, edge of the D, cuts onto his left, and as he tried to fire it across goal, right down the throat of Kepa Arrizabalaga, should have been much more threatening from Foden. And it ends up coming as a simple catch for the Bournemouth goalkeeper. A little bit better from City though. These early moments of the half. Evan Nilsson pressing Edison. Just about got that one out wide to Nunes. It's the header won by Christie. And the second ball by Gundogan and brought down by De Bruyne. And look at this run out wide from O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly squares it across. Haaland! 1-1. That's a beautiful goal. It took them mere 3 minutes to find it. But Manchester City are back level. And that half-time substitution is a mark of tactical genius from Pep Guardiola again. On the field, 3 minutes, and he's already set up the equalising goal. Nico O'Reilly in acres of space down that left side. A beautiful cross across the 18-yard box to the back post for Haaland, who had the simplest of tap-ins to level the game. And that has all come from that tactical tweak at half-time. Something Pep Guardiola clearly spotted, and it's worked out massively in their favour. And Haaland was never going to miss that chance. 1-1. And that's fantastic. That's the exact perfect start to the second half for Manchester City. That's what they needed. That was just really good from Nico O'Reilly and Erling Haaland. They moved it a lot quicker, City. They found the space with a free man wide. And there's just a lovely little cross for Haaland, who did the rest. Really didn't have to do very much but tap it into the net. But that had been causing him a little bit of trouble in the game prior to that. It's now how do Bournemouth react to being pegged back in this game. City that needed to have the next goal. It's City that got the next goal of the game. And now who will get another one? It's how both teams react to this. How City react to levelling the game. Do they just kick on? Or do Bournemouth try and bounce back? And how they react. Will they quiver? Or will they stand to the occasion? Ball over the top there again. Trying to find Nico O'Reilly. He was battling there with David Brooks. And Brooks winning the throw-in off the young Manchester City player. As I said, Nico O'Reilly came on against Plymouth in the FA Cup in round 5 and scored the 2 goals that turned the game from 1-0 down to 2-1 up for Manchester City. So he's made an impact in this competition just in the previous round that got Man City through. And he's already made an impact at the start of this second half to try and do the exact same thing again. Christie. Back to Soler. Bournemouth need a little bit of possession. Just try and settle into this second half. They're a bit rattled at the minute. Bernardo Silva. Wide here to Foden. Foden pressured on the ball, but he held it well. Kovacic now out wide to Nunez, finding Bernardo Silva, who crosses into the box, cleared away by Christie. But only as far as a Man City throw-in. Yeah, it's a real shift in the way this game has gone. The pendulum has swung in Manchester City's favour at the start of this half, and it's all about Bournemouth riding that little bit of a tough spell, making sure they don't end up conceding more. It's very realistic that Man City can take a game away from you in a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes. And that's what Antonio Iraola and his team need to figure out now, to make sure that doesn't happen. Zabarnyi. Christie. Senesi goes back to Kepa. Now Adams. Senesi. Flick on by Semenyo, brought down by Kluivert, who was blocked out there. We'll get the throw, which he takes quickly, wasting no time. Kluivert lays it off to Evan Nielsen. Holds it up well. Evan Nielsen on the left side. Back to Adams. Rolls it on to Semenyo down the left channel. Antoine Semenyo. Back to Adams again. Now Semenyo. This is what Bournemouth need to do. Just regain control of the possession. Regroup a little bit. Just recompose themselves. The ball over the top there to Semenyo. Well dealt with by Vardiol and cleared away. Chest that from De Bruyne ends up laying it off to Nico O'Reilly. A little bit better at winning the ball back in the second half so far as well, Manchester City. Being a little bit more positive with our press. Bernardo Silva gets it out wide to Nunez, who has to jink away from the challenge of Adams. Kovacic goes back to Vardiol. Now Ruben Dias coming forward. Gundogan. Ruben Dias again. Lifts it into the box, round the back. Nico O'Reilly will keep it alive. There was a bit of a tangle in the box. O'Reilly has the ball here up against Lewis Cook. Dribbles his way back the way. Laid it off well to Joško Vardiol. Now Gundogan. There was a quick VAR check for that little tussle in the box, but checked and cleared. A little off the ball tussle. I didn't quite see it, but I knew there was one. And VAR quickly cleared that. De Bruyne not getting very far with that run. Christie intercepting, and Christie now trying to feed it in behind. Kluivert on the chase. That's a good battle. Really good battle. It's Evan Nielsen actually. Apologies, I read the wrong number. And good battle with Vardiol. Will be a throw in. Down this right hand side. Long throw by O'Reilly. Over the head of Cook, and past the Barney goes Haaland. And he's going to get the free kick given against him there, Erling Haaland. For a little push involving Lewis Cook and Haaland there. So a free kick to Bournemouth. But Haaland might have come off the worst of the two there. A bit hobbly as he gets back to his feet. Oh, he's not in a great way. His left leg is in real pain. He's really struggling to stand up there, Erling Haaland. Wonder what that's about. As Brooks absolutely air kicks it there. Have to stop the game here. Haaland is in real significant pain. It's not in a great way. As Bournemouth are going to make a change at the minute. It's going to be Julio Soler that's going to make way. And James Hill is going to be his replacement. So Hill on at left back for Soler, and as double change it's going to be, as Dango Ouattara is going to be coming on. He's not going to be coming on his own because he's got a little bit of paper to deliver as well. He's going to replace David Brooks. So Ouattara for Brooks and Hill for Soler. And Erling Haaland down, going to receive treatment. We'll see what this collision was all about then. Haaland and Cook collided, and as Haaland tried to win the ball, Cook won the foul, and Haaland just kind of slightly, his left leg got caught under Lewis Cook as he fell. It was certainly a little bit of a pull on Erling Haaland's left leg, and as he got back to his feet, he stood up on his leg and then kind of went down as if it'd give way underneath him. He'd done it again as he came back onto the field and was really hobbling. He couldn't stand on that left leg as he came back onto the field. He's getting treatment now. Worry on the face of Pep Guardiola there. No matter what person you have on the bench, Erling Haaland irreplaceable. Omar Mamouche would be the closest to a straight swap for Manchester City. Wouldn't be a like-for-like swap, of course not, but Omar Mamouche would be the closest that City would have to a backup striker on the bench this afternoon, if they were needed to call upon that. And Haaland's importance already presented in the fact that he scored the equalising goal that gets Man City back in this FA Cup tie. And he is back to his feet. He's walking a lot better now on that left leg. Whether City will stick with him here, I think they will. Looks like he will play on here, Erling Haaland. But will be watched very closely, I'm sure. Because that is someone you do not want to lose. They've already had a torrid season with a couple of big injuries, Man City. And a little niggly ones as well here and there, which is to be expected, but with the way their season has been, Erling Haaland would be another massive miss for them if they were to lose him at this stage of the campaign. Certainly would have been would be a very drab end to what has been a pretty forgetful season, and forgettable season, I should say. He's back onto the field now, Haaland. We'll keep a close eye on him, see whether he is able to move freely. He's still in real pain. He's gone down again. He's gone. Just as I watched him, he's gone down again, but the referee doesn't have to stop the game. It's not a head injury, and Bournemouth have the ball, so they can choose whether to put it out or not, as De Bruyne does put it out for the throw-in. Haaland, I think, is going to have to go here. De Bruyne is not happy that Lewis Cook didn't put the ball out of play uncontested, which has caused a bit of anger, but I think Bournemouth have no reason to put the ball out of play. They've got the ball, they've got the right to possession, they don't need to put it out of play no matter what. It's up to the referee. You play to the whistle. I get where Kevin De Bruyne is coming from. They know it's an injury, it's already been sorted out in the last minute or two, but Bournemouth have no obligation to put the ball out of play. I don't know what Kevin De Bruyne is getting all righteous about. I think he just needs to relax there. Haaland is coming off, so Omar Marmoush is on. So Haaland back on the field, barely 20 seconds, and had to come off. So whatever that issue is, that issue has ended Erling Haaland's day here this afternoon after the hour mark, and Omar Marmoush on in his place. I mean, it's a downgrade, but it's, with no disrespect to Omar Marmoush, it's a downgrade because anybody would be a downgrade from Erling Haaland. As we're just getting confirmation, Pep Guardiola's actually got a yellow card. I think it might be down to the fact that he was showing a few choice words to the fourth official, maybe. The fact that Bournemouth didn't put the ball out of play, or the referee didn't stop the game, one of the two. And that's got Pep Guardiola a yellow card. Yeah, the fourth official there, Andy Madley, might have got a bit of an earache. A bit of an earful, certainly, from Pep Guardiola there, which probably got him that yellow card. It was Christie held on to there as he got the ball. It will be a free kick to Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth need another kind of boost, losing Erling Haaland, who's just scored the equalising goal for Manchester City at the start of the half. That is a boost if you're ever going to get one. And with just under 30 minutes to go, Bournemouth might want to try and regain a little bit of dominance in this game and a little bit of control that they had in the first half, haven't really had in the second half so far, and certainly not on that occasion, as Ryan Christie dragging, I think it was Kovacic, to the ground. It's a free kick to Manchester City and a yellow card for Ryan Christie. It is Mateo Kovacic that he dragged to the ground. Yeah, and regarded as stopping a promising attack. There, Ryan Christie, which is a definite yellow card. Foden. Now Gundogan. Through the lines. Semenyo got the challenge, and O'Reilly's won it back, and he's found Omar Marmoush, who gets the second goal. A second assist from Nico O'Reilly, and a second goal for Manchester City. And they turn this game on its head. They lose Erling Haaland, but the man who comes on to replace him does exactly what he would have done in that position. And Omar Marmoush finds the back of the net, and Manchester City turn this game on its head. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. And it's the impact of Nico O'Reilly. Semenyo wins it back, but O'Reilly, determined to win the ball back, wins it back, feeds it through for Marmoush, who finds the back of the net. It's all Nico O'Reilly. Without him, Manchester City, I am certain, would still be losing this game. He has been the game changer. And Nico O'Reilly, once again in the FA Cup, is Manchester City's hero. Bournemouth 1, City 2. And Manchester City might not want to look back now. I might not be looking back, because Bournemouth might have just thrown it all away. Oh, poor ball there. I think they've kind of swapped shirts between first and second half, these two teams. Bournemouth not looking anywhere near what they were like in the first half. They're really off it for this second half so far. Manchester City making that tactical tweak, with Nico O'Reilly has just been a masterstroke from Pep Guardiola and his coaching staff. But it's not over yet, because here's Semenyo breaking away again, not able to find any sort of room. Kovacic does really well in the challenge to win it back. And just over 25 minutes to go. It's Manchester City's to lose now. Oh, a loose pass there. Just about cleaned up by Mateo Kovacic. Evan Nielsen was ready to pounce. The long ball over the top, that from Edison. Marmouche arriving into the box. Nunez chasing. Nunez with a cross. Marmouche still alive. Oh, cleared away by Senesi. As it's still alive. Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne, a deflection. Corner. Man City are ready to put this game to bed. Ball over the top by Edison. Nunez completely unchallenged as he run to the byline. Gets the cross into Marmouche, got the header, cleared off the line, and Senesi had to clear it out off the line for a second time as it bounced down off Marmouche again. And De Bruyne's effort from the edge of the box deflected behind for the corner. Man City really in a purple patch at the moment and wanting to put this FA Cup quarter-final to bed. Left-footed delivery, deep to the back post. Header across goal, cleared away by Bournemouth. And Diaz just passing it back to Edison as Kluivert's run the length of the pitch. And Edison just kicks it back into Bournemouth possession here with Adams. Bournemouth really haven't been nowhere near the level in this second half. If we compare the first and second halves, Bournemouth have had 5 shots to Man City 6 in the first half. So City had more shots, but Bournemouth had 5 shots and 2 big chances. In the second half, they haven't registered a shot yet, Bournemouth, in the second half. We played 21 minutes. City have 5 shots. Bournemouth without a registered shot in the second 45 so far. A real stark contrast to the fact that Man City have probably kept up their shooting, maybe bettered it a little bit in getting in better areas. Nico O'Reilly certainly getting them into much better goal scoring areas, but for Bournemouth, they've just really fallen away, and that's quite surprising. Really quite surprising with how they played that first half. They looked dominant. Manchester City looked haphazard, but Bournemouth have maybe swapped roles with Man City in between the halves, and it's been Man City that have been dominant in the second half, and Bournemouth that have been haphazard. It's now or never. They need to get a better control back and try and get that equalising goal, Bournemouth, before Man City try and find a third. Because if Man City do get a third goal, that would be game over. And with a quarter of this game remaining, Pep Guardiola is going to make another change. 1 at half time for a tactical tweak. 1 enforced change from Erling Haaland, and now it's going to see Jack Grealish enter the fray here. And he's going to replace Phil Foden. So Foden off, Grealish on. for the final 22 minutes or so. Well, Bournemouth's form before the international break has been a bit up and down. There are only 2 wins. Two of the 3 wins in their last 7 games have come in the FA Cup. Against Wolves and against Everton. Only 1 win in the Premier League in their last 5. And that was away to Southampton. Lost to Wolves, lost to Brighton, drew with Spurs and lost to Brentford in their last 4 Premier League games, home and away. The last time they failed to lose back-to-back games in the Premier League. That was, of course, when they won back-to-back games against Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, where they scored 9 goals in those 2 games back at the end of January. That was when they were on that great unbeaten run before they lost to Liverpool, which maybe partially came to a bit of a crashing down from Bournemouth, who were well on their way to Champions League football. You know, at that point, when they beat Forest 5-0, they were competing for Forest and maybe for a Champions League place at that point, but the recent run of form has seen them fall a little bit away from that, as Lewis Cook gets himself booked there for a foul on Jack Grealish. It's one thing Jack Grealish always gives you. Certainly gives you free kicks, set pieces. No doubt about that. Free kick here for Manchester City. 20 minutes to go. Ilkay Gundogan to take on this left-hand side. Right-footed fizz ball. Flicked on by Vardiol, but cleared away by Bournemouth. They're trying to hit the counter. There's just no option. Adams gets it back to Christie. Cleared away by Senesi, not convincingly, as he's given it right back to Ilkay Gundogan here. Gundogan charging forward. Gundogan seen off the ball at the edge of the box there as Bournemouth clear it away. Kluivert trying to get any sort of hopeful attack and play out of this. Feeding off scraps, the Bournemouth forwards in the second half. Very little of anything competent in the second 45 so far up front of Bournemouth. Basically just fallen away. Hill's ball over the top. Evan Nielsen in the box. This could be a chance. Again, just held off well by Ruben Dias. Just aren't able to hold it up. Cook did a little over the head kick, but Grealish will just usher that one out for a throw-in. He's in no hurry. Neither are Manchester City at the minute. Andone Iraola trying to make some switches. He's having a chat with a couple on his bench. We'll see what tweaks he's going to make. He's already made a double substitution around about 12-15 minutes ago for Ouattara and Hill, but wants to make some more. No, substitutions really haven't had an impact you would probably expect them to have had for Bournemouth. They certainly do get a lot out of their substitutes. They think one of the highest scoring teams from substitutes this season in the Premier League in terms of goals from substitutes. They certainly get a lucrative spell out of their replacements when they're brought onto the field. So far, their first 2 subs of the game haven't worked out that way. Now there's going to be more changes. Evan Nielsen is going to make way here for Bournemouth, and he's going to be replaced by number 8, Alex Scott. And the second substitution for Bournemouth is going to see number 15, Adam Smith. And he's going to replace number 10, Ryan Christie. So, double substitution there. Christie and Evan Nielsen off for Bournemouth, and Smith and Scott on. Maybe going to a back 3, Bournemouth, are they? And try and identify this because Smith and Cook are both full-backs, but I think maybe Lewis Cook might drop into centre-back. Smith will play right wing-back and go to more of a back five, maybe Bournemouth, a back three. Or no, actually, apologies. Maybe Lewis Cook has gone into midfield. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. That's what I can gather for now, because they've not gone to a back five, Bournemouth. They've stayed at a back four. Smith there to win the ball back off Grealish. Clears it away. Ouattara not able to hold it up against Vardiol. The header in the air by Cook. And Ouattara couldn't keep it in play. 16 minutes to go. Bournemouth need that equalising goal, otherwise they're out of the FA Cup. It's only the third time they've ever been in the FA Cup quarter-finals, Bournemouth. Of course, never progressed from their previous two. Both of their previous FA Cup quarter-finals have ended in defeat. The last two FA Cup quarter-finals, their last one was in 2020-2021, and they lost 3-0 against Southampton. Their last one before that was in 1957, when they lost 2-1 to Manchester United. They're the only two ever FA Cup quarter-finals before this game, and they lost both of them, of course. And if they want to end that little run, end that trend, they're going to have to try and find something here in these final quarter of an hour. At least the final quarter of an hour. Remember, if we're level after 90 minutes, extra time, and then possibly penalties to decide the winner, as was the case in that other quarter final between Brighton and Nottingham Forest last night, of which we went the full distance for, really. If you were with us last night, you would have seen that game. There's Semenyo there, getting a cheap foul given away, and that certainly doesn't help the momentum for Bournemouth and trying to get back into this game. That's a free kick. Another cheap foul given away. Nunez, this time fouled. Certainly not helpful for Bournemouth, giving away these niggly fouls. And I think Justin Kluivert's been given a yellow card as well for that challenge. And of course, City were the beaten finalists in this competition last season to the holders Manchester United. They have won the FA Cup twice under Pep Guardiola, in 2018-19 and in 22-23. As De Bruyne wins a corner there. They've won their last 14 away games in the competition, scoring 40 goals and conceding 10. Their last defeat on the road in the FA Cup came in at Wigan Athletic in February 2018, with their last 4 FA Cup losses coming at Wembley Stadium. That's mental. Their last 4 FA Cup defeats have come at Wembley, either in finals or semi-finals. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Corner here for City. They might be heading to Wembley again. Fizz ball by De Bruyne. Cleared back the way it came. And De Bruyne will deliver again. Back post, flicked across. Hooked away there by Senesi. And then Kluivert, but they couldn't get it anywhere near out of trouble here, Bournemouth. Can't get out of their own box there. The ball does come back with Matheus Nunes. De Bruyne. Lovely combinations. Bernardo Silva finds Marmoush. Nunes. Kovacic. Back to Vardiol. Goes long. Header won by Hill. De Bruyne wins the second one. And Marmoush flicks it on. And Nunes in the box. Blocked off. And Ouattara gets back and wins the free kick to alleviate that little bit of pressure on Bournemouth there. And well, City have won their last 7 FA Cup quarter-final ties. Each of these coming in the last 8 campaigns. The only season they didn't make the quarter-finals of the FA Cup was in 2017-18. Their run of reaching the semi-final in 6 consecutive campaigns is already a record in the competition. Of course, it would make it 7 successive FA Cup semi-final appearances if they win this afternoon. And they made hard work, of course, as I said, of beating Plymouth in round 5, coming from 1-0 down against the Championship side, who had already knocked out Liverpool in round 4. Here's Scott. Now Cook. Back out wide. Clivert lays it off now. Hill looking for the cross. Blocked. Maybe a bit of positivity there. Bernardo Silva with a block. Bournemouth getting forward. Just over 10 minutes to go. Maybe they're not down and out just yet. There's only 1 goal in it. Only takes a second to score a goal. Another one of those famous cliches in this sport. And it rings true. As Hill is maybe going to try and go for a long throw in here. Gets the run up. James Hill, long throw. Headed away by Manchester City. Kept alive though by Zabarnyi. Oh, and Zabarnyi actually gets himself in trouble and plays himself into a mistake here. Has to get back. Marmoush is on the run. Marmoush now finds Gundogan. Back to Marmoush and City. Too many passes and they end up fluffing that chance. Zabarnyi almost ended this tie for Bournemouth with that little mistake, because Marmoush almost had a clean run. Here's Smith. We're into the final 10 minutes of normal time here at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. In this FA Cup quarter-final tie. Scott closed down well by Kovacic, his opposite number. And now Gundogan finding Grealish down the left-hand side. Gundogan tackled off the ball, no foul, said the referee. Kovacic, Grealish. Grealish tiptoeing down the left flank. Chops it back to Gundogan inside. Out wide again to Grealish. Now Kovacic reverses it back out wide to Grealish again. Drives infield this time. Jack Grealish into the box. Trying to dribble his way through. Cuts it back. The shot. Oh, off the post from Ilkay Gundogan. Still alive. De Bruyne. Gundogan again. Deflection. Takes it behind for the corner. Another good opportunity. Gundogan's first shot coming off the post, and then the second one deflecting behind for the corner. A third goal for City is game over. And they have a corner here on this right hand side. And they're going to make another double substitution in a minute. Nico Gonzalez and James McAtee are those waiting in the sidelines for City. And they were going to wait until this corner was taken, but I think they're actually changed their mind and are going to make those substitutions now. They are. So Ilkay Gundogan is going to be replaced, I would believe, by Nico Gonzalez and Mateo Kovacic. So Mateo Kovacic and Ilkay Gundogan coming off, and Nico Gonzalez and James McAtee are coming on. So a double substitution there for Manchester City in these latter stages. Already one of their substitutes, actually two of their substitutes, have made an impact. Nico O'Reilly setting up both goals, Omar Marmoush scoring the second. More subs on to try and impact this game. The ball delivered in. Header not won first time by Diaz, cleared away by Bournemouth on the second time as far as the halfway line. Brought down by Vardiol. Tries to find it over the top for Marmoush, but simple enough. Oh, for Kepa, but Bournemouth a bit wasteful in possession there with Hill, I believe that was, or Adams, one of the two. And it's given away. Here's Grealish. Edge of the box. Can't find a shooting chance. Goes back to De Bruyne. Now Gonzalez goes back to Ruben Dias. It's a nice interception that time by Senesi. And he's won a throw in there off Kevin De Bruyne. 6 minutes of normal time. Well, Bournemouth's win over Manchester City at the Vitality back in November was their first ever against the Citizens in all competitions. In 21 previous meetings, they had never beaten Manchester City. 2 draws and 19 defeats in their previous 21 meetings before that fixture in November. There's another bit of paper brought on there by a Bournemouth substitute. Marcus Senesi's been replaced by Daniel Jebbison, so an extra attacker on the field for Bournemouth here in these latter stages. Needs must. See, they're in behind here. Ball crossed into the box with Tara. Semenyo couldn't bring it down, kept alive here. Smith now, tried to get it across, well blocked. Smith again. Back to Kluiverts. Smith goes for the cross into the box, over the head of everyone in there, and it will go out for a throw-in to Manchester City. The Bournemouth fans trying to get their team to push for that equalising goal. One last chance to try and make history at this football club. They've never been in an FA Cup semi-final in their history. They're going to need to find an equaliser at the very least to keep their hopes of qualifying this season alive. It's going to be a yellow card given out here for time wasting against Matheus Nunes. And that's a loser's mentality, wasting time. And Matheus Nunes booked for that. Does get the throw in, given away to Semenyo. Second ball cleared away, well a danger. It's all the way back here with Kepa. Lovely little dribble. Jebbison couldn't keep it at his feet. Nice take down there by Cook. Adams diffed it out wide. Hill with the ball over the top, but too much for anybody in black and red to get anywhere near, and Edison will just take his time. It's Void in the chat, says W City are the best. Not quite won this one yet. It's not over just yet, but it looks like it will be that way, that Manchester City will claim victory for the 20th time against Bournemouth in their history. Out of 23 meetings. Looks like they will get to their 7th successive FA Cup semi-final. Manchester City. Which is quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. Long kick there by Kepa. It's last ditch type of stuff for Bournemouth now. It's throwing hell for leather. Caution to the wind. Throwing the kitchen sink at it. Whatever term, whatever phrase you want to use, they're all in play here for Bournemouth. With less than 3 minutes of normal time to go, as Semenyo tries to battle O'Reilly. He thought he'd won it and then he'd lost it again, as it's cleared long. And Omar Marmoush, almost testing Kepa, whose header wasn't convincing, as now De Bruyne wide on the right hand side. Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, almost getting caught in their little 1-2 there. Here's McAtee. Out wide it goes to Grealish. Steps inside. Reverses the ball round the corner to McAtee. He dribbles his way through Zabarnyi, but actually gets barred by Zabarnyi off the ball. Wanted a foul, wasn't going to get one. Goal kick to Bournemouth. 90 seconds of normal time to go. Again, another long, hopeful ball. Again, brought down by City. Here's Grealish in his own half now. Back to Ruben Dias. Vardiol sends it long. Marmouche checks it down well on this left side. Lays it off to Grealish, who feeds it through for McAtee on the run. Not in a hurry here, City, to get into the box. They're just trying to run the clock down. Bournemouth trying to win the ball back and try and get it forward if they can. Another ball over the top. McAtee on the run. He's in the box here. He steps his way out. Smart move. Just the sustained possession. Stifle Bournemouth. Keep the ball. And that's smart from Grealish. Entice a free kick. Entice a foul. And waste a little bit more time. And City will get the free kick. Tyler Adams was the one that was enticed and the one that gave away the foul. A little bit of frustration there for the American international. I don't think he was just too happy with Jack Grealish taking a bit of a liberty there. Yeah, he was always going to get the foul. You make a challenge like that. Tyler Adams just wanted to kind of put one in on Jack Grealish there. He certainly did that. There's Grealish now tying his shoelaces. Every trick in the book. As the 90 minutes are up and we will have 7 additional minutes. 7 minutes in this game. 7 more for City to hold on to a lead. 7 more for Bournemouth to try and rescue something late. Remember, if we're level after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties to decide a winner. But at the minute, we won't need those, because Bournemouth will be going out and Man City will be heading through. As it stands, a goal kick will be for Bournemouth here. Zabarnyi. Need to get something. Zabarnyi goes long. Again, Watara trying to hold it up. Again, it's just not sticking at the moment, the ball for Bournemouth. And that's a bounce in behind Zabarnyi, an awkward one. And Marmouche, couldn't carry the ball with him. The ball swung out to the left side again. Kluivert couldn't keep it, but headed out of play there by Mateus Nunes for the throw. Again, Bournemouth not able to stick with the ball. They give it away again in the midfield. There's no sustaining the possession whatsoever. City just look comfortable. They're cruising at the minute. De Bruyne. Gonzalez. Back to Ruben Dias. Made it off to Marmouche, who played it out to De Bruyne. Now out wide it goes to Grealish. Grealish in the box, chops onto his right, still going, not want to shoot. De Bruyne! Charged down, still alive, off the great save by Kepa. A point blank range. A great block, a great save. Both denying Man City a third goal that really would have put this tie to bed. And could that be ever so important with still 5 minutes of additional time to go? Could that be the lifeline Bournemouth needed? They still need another one if they want to find an equaliser. Here is Kluivert. Drifting forward. Looking for something. Adams back to Kluivert wide. Little bit of space. Whips a ball in. Headed away by Ruben Dias. And Marmouche held it up well. And given off to Gonzalez, who gets pushed down by James Hill. And a free kick to Manchester City. Yeah, great block by Zabarnyi. And then in the end it falls to McAtee, whose shot saved well by Kepa. Those are big moments. Big moments. Maybe they could turn out to be ineffective. With the fact that Bournemouth are still yet to register a shot in the second half, but all it takes is one chance. And if you have to be brutally honest, with 4 minutes to go, you don't really see Bournemouth having a shot in the next 4 minutes. It doesn't seem like it will be the case. Just had really nothing to show in this second half. It's been a really poor showing after doing all that hard work in the first half of taking a lead and really dominating Man City. They've just let it all go free. They had a firm grip on City and they just let go. And City have got a firm grip of their own on this game now. Zabarnyi's clearance didn't go very far, as Gonzalez did well to lay it off to Bernardo Silva. 3 minutes of additional time remain. It's more likely City are going to find a third goal than Bournemouth are going to find an equaliser. Here's Grealish. Edge of the box. McAtee, told to shoot by the crowd, doesn't shoot. Feeds it wide to De Bruyne. And goes to the corner flag. But James Hill picks his pocket. Gets fouled himself. The referee plays advantage. Kluivert with the ball forward. Not getting that pass as Jebbison wins it back. But a bit dangly that. Although he is fouled. Daniel Jebbison by James McAtee. It's a free kick to Bournemouth. And a yellow card's coming out as well here for the from the referee. And it will go the direction of James McAtee, who gets that yellow card for that pretty cynical challenge on Daniel Jebbison. Now 2 minutes to go. Kepa with his free kick. Goes long to the right side. Flicked on by Ouattara. Scott tried to keep it alive but cleared away. And Cook, the last man for Bournemouth, under pressure from Marmoush, but got it back to his keeper, who fires it long again over the top. Jebbison trying to make a nuisance of himself. Brought down. No foul, said the referee. It's the ball all the way through, and Zabarnyi battling with his goalkeeper. Kepa came out with the ball here, and again he hoofs it forward, but this time right to his opposite in Edison in the opposing goal. And with 90 seconds to go, City will eke out every single second of that to try and settle this and finish it once and for all. Here's Nico O'Reilly. And Jack Grealish couldn't keep the ball there. Goes out for a Bournemouth throw. Bit wasteful that. With 1 minute to go. Need a little bit of a miracle now, Bournemouth. Well, Nico O'Reilly certainly gets player of the match. No doubt about it. The 2 assists that changed this game and turned it, flipped it on its head, and gave Manchester City, at the minute, what will be the victory. Grealish dispossessed again, that time not a foul, as Cook drifts it out to the left side. Nunez with a header, linking up well with Bernardo Silva. Nunez brought down, and it's going to be a free kick. And maybe that should be that. 20 so seconds to go. You got to say, Antonio Iraola's team haven't done enough in the second half to warrant a chance at a semi-final. They've been really lacklustre, really stodgy, not able to get any sort of relative attacks against City. And the long clearance of the free kick, chested down. The time is up, 7 minutes are up, and that's it. That's it all over. The final whistle goes. Manchester City, for the 7th successive season, are into an FA Cup semi-final. Bournemouth had the first half lead when Evan Nielsen found the back of the net after Erling Haaland missed a first half penalty. But the second half, it was Nico O'Reilly, the half-time substitute, that changed the fortunes for Manchester City. He set up Erling Haaland for the leveller, and when Erling Haaland had to go off, Nico O'Reilly set up his replacement in Omar Marmoush to give City the ultimate winning goal. Manchester City, their last hopes of winning a trophy is this competition, and knocking out a Bournemouth side who were daring to dream that they would face off in their first ever semi-final in this competition. But Manchester City have won it twice under Pep Guardiola, and now want to make it 3. And they're just 2 wins away from doing that. They've had to do it the hard way this season in the FA Cup. But it doesn't matter how you do it. All that matters is that you get the result that you desire. And Man City are into the final 4. Final score at the Vitality Stadium in this FA Cup quarter-final. It is finished. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. And there it is, the final result. Manchester City coming out on top in the end after that second half comeback. Nico O'Reilly, what an impact he had coming off the bench, getting 2 assists that proved enough for Manchester City to progress to the semi-finals, knocking out Bournemouth. The 3rd time Bournemouth have been knocked out at the quarter-final stage. And only the 3rd appearance in the quarter-finals. Never been in the semi-finals, and that trend is not going to finish this season. Right, let's recap the weekend's results then for you. Crystal Palace knocking out Fulham in that London derby on Saturday lunchtime by 3-0. Forest had to go all the way to penalties for the 3rd round in a row, and they knocked out Brighton on spot kicks 4-3 after a 0-0 draw after 120 minutes. Villa made easy work of Preston in the end, winning by 3-0 against the Championship side at Deepdale. And just we've seen Bournemouth knocked out. All 4 home teams knocked out this weekend. Manchester City winning on the road against the Cherries. So, our quarterfinals. This is the draw that was done before kick-off in the Bournemouth City game. So City are through. So it will be Nottingham Forest that will take on Manchester City in semi-final 1. And semi-final 2 will see Crystal Palace take on Aston Villa. Both semi-finals played at Wembley Stadium, and they will be played at the weekend of the 26th and 27th of April. And all 4 teams vying for a place in the 2025 FA Cup final, which takes place on Saturday the 17th of May. And that's it from us here this afternoon on this FA Cup Live. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a great weekend of FA Cup action. 4 quarter-finals, 8 became 4. And Manchester City's hopes of a trophy still alive, but still 3 out of 4 of them still haven't won it in the 21st century. Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest all hoping they could lift this trophy. Crystal Palace have never won it. Villa and Forest haven't won it in the 21st century. Haven't won it in over 60 years. We'll see who can lift it. We're one step closer to finding out our FA Cup winners. The semi-finals take place at the end of next month. We'll see you then. We're back in midweek for Premier League action. Until then, thanks for your company. Bye-bye.